process where they put them under they're under voluntary hypnosis, but they put them through CIA mind control methods to create Manchurian candidates who carry out these events. Usually these are done at schools to ignite the anti-gun lobby, right? These are the events that happen at schools. Now, this event here, a lot of people are saying, is it fake? Is it not fake? Is it a false flag or a psyop? Most of these people who claim to be red pill don't even know the difference. A psyop is a psychological operation. Can it cross into a false flag? Yes. A psychological operation, in a lot of senses, doesn't even need to occur. The event that occurred up at the Hook at the Sandy was a psyop. There was never even anything that actually occurred in that pop-up town. Events like this, where there's an actual crowd on display, you could start looking through and weeding through the evidence, right? We saw an actual body they showed us on TV on top of a roof. Now, the story that they've told us about how this guy was 138 yards away and somehow the Secret Service was not protecting him is going to probably be a narrative that is carried out with the right wing, where they try to say that the Secret Service didn't do their job on purpose so that this could happen to Donald Trump. There'll be all sorts of conspiracies around it, but here's the real conspiracy. Here's the real fact of the matter, okay? This is where you should start going, oh wow, this does seem like it could be manufactured news, because the news is manufactured. We all know of BlackRock, right? Everybody knows of Larry Fink. Larry Fink is famous around conspiracy circles for what? Well, owning everything, right? He owns the news networks, he owns Fox, he owns CNN, so he owns both sides, right? BlackRock owns both sides. They own everything. They own the gas companies, they have stakes in Amazon, they have stakes in every single form of media. And of course, Larry Fink is a close ally of Donald Trump. So you'd say to yourself, well, wait a minute, how does Larry Fink tie into this? Well, let me play for you this commercial that aired in 2023 from BlackRock, where they actually conveniently filmed at this school, the Bethel Park High School, the same school that the shooter supposedly went to. And guess what? Conveniently, the so-called shooter happens to be in this BlackRock commercial. I kid you not. Look.
My name is Brian DeLallo. I teach AP and honors economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school and gave as much as he could to help the community. Place to come to school.
So as you saw that right there, that character that you see is Thomas Matthew Crooks. This was shot 1 year ago. Right? And when I tell you about how they put people through mind control operations, why is it that all of these shooters, so-called shooters, all look the same? Do you ever notice the look on the face of these people? I mean, you tell me you don't see something off when you see Thomas Crooks? How about the name, by the way, with Crooks? Thomas Crooks, all the stuff with Trump being a crook is a common theme that we hear. I mean, they rub this stuff right in front of our faces because they produce and manufacture this. So you see a commercial with the shooter in the commercial for BlackRock. BlackRock conveniently owns and controls everything, right? And what is Larry Fink most famous for, in addition to the stuff I showed you? Well, he's most famous for his recent interview where he talks about being able to control people's behavior, because that's what this entire experiment that's going on right now is about. Changing these laws, putting restrictions in place, censoring free speech, behavioral control. And Larry Fink is known for, well, giving speeches like this.
Behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. What we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay? You have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. Behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.
And that's what this huge experiment is about. It's about behavioral control. That's really what the United States of America is about. It's a giant experiment, the illusion of freedom, believing what you want to believe, but not realizing that it's all manufactured. The history of the world that we've been taught is a lie. And like I said earlier, if you believe anything in the news, then you're falling for the deception. People out there are claiming that they're red pill, claiming they're awake because they get tastes of conspiracy, but they don't understand how this works. It's a psychosis. The entire phenomenon with Trump is a psychosis. People act like they even know who this guy is. Why? Because of the media and the television and what they're getting fed. They think that they're getting all of this information as if it's just coming from some feed that the media doesn't want you to know about. All the stuff that the media does with victimizing Trump makes people like Trump more. That's why the liberal media goes out of their way to bash Trump. You think that they're that tone deaf that they don't know what they're doing? This is a CIA operation. Their extent in understanding the human mind is beyond your comprehension. So they know with all the stuff they do in the news by making Trump a criminal when everyone knows that the stuff that they're showing you is insane, that nobody would really go to court for that. They're doing this deliberately so that you put more support into Trump. They want to prevent a real revolution from occurring. So everybody's investing in Donald Trump, right? And to understand this better, okay, when we talk about manufactured news, the news creates a perception that you think is reality. So you put the TV on, you watch the news, and you're supposed to believe that this is what's happening in the world. When you go to the movies and you watch a movie, your brain is telling you that this is fiction. But guess what? It's inverted. A lot of the themes and the plots in movies that seem ridiculous, from sci-fi with these alien invasions to movies about demonic possession, those things are actually real in this realm that we're living in. The stuff in the news gives you a false perception of reality. Then you garner all this support for these politicians. They were never able to do this like they're doing it now because people were not so attached to the media. They didn't have a phone in their hand 24/7. They weren't obsessing over this. There wasn't Twitter. There wasn't the hive mind consciousness of the internet where people are uploading their every thought. So Larry Fink and these psychopaths, their goal is behavioral control. And they're manufacturing the news in front of you. Think no further than the film Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog is a perfect example where they show you truth in plain sight. Where they say, well, this is a comedy film about what if Hollywood could manufacture wars and manufacture this. But this is exactly what they do in Wag the Dog. It's a production. And all these events that occur are staged productions. That's what you're seeing, staged productions. People can't wrap their heads around that. They go, that cannot be, because they're emotionally invested in something. They're under psychosis. You don't even know Donald Trump, just like you don't know Joe Biden, but they think that they know them. They think, you know how many people comment, I don't want to believe the stuff with Joe Biden is an act. Yet you could see him doing from one competent speech to another speech where he can't complete a sentence, right? They don't want to believe it because the act is being played on them so well, and they hate the person so much.